Dodged the extradition bullet again today. A short time ago, the Ontario Court of Appeal agreed to delay his removal to Germany so that he can go back to the Supreme Court, which means he should be free to testify now before a Commons committee about his dealings with Brian Mulroney. Neil Coxell is at the courthouse in Toronto, and she joins us now live. So Neil, take us through what happened in court this morning.
Well, Marivelle, Karlheinz Schreiber was able to dodge the extradition bullet, as you put it, not because of a decision by the judge in the Ontario Court of Appeal behind me, but because of a deal that Schreiber's legal team, including Eddie Greenspan, was able to reach with the Federal Justice Department. And this deal will allow him to stay in Canada, as he has wanted, as he has fought for so long, so that he and his legal team can prepare their appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada. This will be Schreiber and his team's third try with the Supreme Court. They basically have until mid-January to prepare that appeal, then till mid-February for the government to look over the paperwork, and then the Supreme Court steps in and will begin to decide what it wants to do. Now, Eddie Greenspan, speaking after a very, very short proceedings, really spoke out against the federal government, saying it is essentially talking out of both sides of its mouth on this case. First, he said that Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister, has said he wants a public inquiry. He's calling a public inquiry and pointing ahead to that inquiry. But then the Federal Justice Minister has up until now done, Greenspan said, everything he can to push this extradition through. He really didn't mince words. Here's a bit more of what Eddie Greenspan had to say.
I think they're treating it differently in the Department of Justice because, as most cases in the Department of Justice are legal, that this is purely political, and that the Minister of Justice wants Mr. Schreiber out of Canada and is prepared to put up any roadblock that he can, even where that roadblock is ridiculous and stupid. This is an utter waste of time. This is a venomous attack for no reason. This is all political.
So let's talk in the immediate term now, Neil. What happens next?
Well, there are more legal steps ahead for Karlheinz Schreiber, Marivelle, and his team. The next immediate step is trying to get Schreiber out on bail. For over 8 years, as Eddie Greenspan pointed out a number of times in his impromptu news conference, Schreiber was out on bail for several years, but he has been in a Toronto detention center since early October of this year. They're going to try for bail. The earliest Schreiber could walk out of the detention center, his lawyer, Eddie Greenspan, said was perhaps in the next couple of days. Of course, the next step in the political side of things is to speak again before the Ethics Committee. That is expected to happen on Tuesday. Eddie Greenspan pointed out, though, Marivelle, that he does not feel comfortable with the idea that Karlheinz Schreiber could be taking, some of these tens of thousands of documents describing his relationship with Brian Mulroney, the former Prime Minister. He doesn't feel comfortable with him taking these documents into the atmosphere of the Ethics Committee. And he feels, he says, that the government is asking all of these questions in the Ethics Committee in order to stall or even cancel out the public inquiry that's been proposed so far. And he feels that the Ethics Committee really isn't the right venue. He would like all of these questions to be answered in the form of a public inquiry. But the next legal step, as I said, is a bail application, and after that, more statements from Karlheinz Schreiber Tuesday at the Ethics Committee.